Welcome to Talking Horror Episode 4. Today, I have Chad here with me. And if you've not been here before, my name's Bobbie. This is the Geek Cabal channel. Had Levi in a couple of the past episodes, and Sarah was in episode 3. I anticipate there'll be another episode with Levi here before too long, though. So, today, we're going to talk a little bit about, I guess, we'll start with what makes a good horror movie. Maybe drift into what qualifies as a horror movie. Things such as this. So, I guess with that question out there, Chad, what's your opinion on what makes a good horror movie?
As someone that doesn't watch a lot of horror movies, well, it's got to have that sense of dread to it.
Okay.
And that's really the only criteria I really have for it. You don't need jump scares. You don't need plot twists.
No jump scares, no plot twists? Chad, what are you talking about? You're talking like it's like the 1970s or 80s here.
You just need the sense of dread.
Okay. Do you have an example of a movie that achieves this, in your opinion?
Nope. Because most horror movies have the jump scares and the plot twists and everything else in them too.
Well, what about the first Halloween?
That has some jump scares, not a lot. There's no real plot twist. It's simply the sense of dread of Michael Myers stalking through Haddonfield and then finally, being spotted and killing people.
Yep. Okay.
Which from that moment, the sense of dread goes from this guy is a predator treating other humans as his prey and stalking them to there's a big knife in his hand.
All right. Now, I assume you do not believe the same about some of the sequels.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, do you think like Halloween 2 achieves a sense of dread?
Halloween 2, the mystery of Michael is kind of gone. It does still have a sense of dread to it. It's not as big as the first one. But, I think it mostly manages to do it through its atmosphere. The fact that we went from several houses in Haddonfield down to the hospital.
Yeah. All right. What about, say, Alien?
You still have the sense of dread. You have jump scares. No real plot twist.
Well, I think to the original audience, there probably was a plot twist, but...
Alien creature? That's the plot twist?
No, that Ash was a robot.
Yeah, probably. That was probably a little bit of a plot twist they didn't see coming.
And that he was probably operating on pre-programmed instructions.
As in Weyland-Yutani knew about it beforehand, and
yeah,
every robot was programmed to, hey, if you get close to this planet...
Yeah, something like that.
At the start, it doesn't really have the sense of dread. It's more suspenseful.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. That's... I don't know. What do you need to classify a movie as a horror movie yourself?
Well, okay, so... Because I've actually been thinking about this, because I've been filming, recommendations for horror movies. And I kind of hit a wall with an idea that I had. In that, how do I differentiate a horror movie from a thriller? Like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Like Scream, for instance. I feel is firmly entrenched in the horror genre, but most horror movies have some fantastic or supernatural element to them. Scream does not. Scream is just people, which means it's really more in the thriller category. It's just it has a lot of the trappings of a horror movie.
Well, to that point, the first Halloween wasn't supernatural.
Well, I mean, you could make that argument. But I think the big problem is once you get to the others, the argument does completely fall apart.
Yes.
But that's that's kind of what I was running into. Because I'm trying to think of the movie I was gonna There's a couple movies I was going to recommend, and the whole concept was like, well, these aren't supernatural horror movies. And they don't all have to be supernatural. Like, Tremors is not supernatural.
No, it is not. But that's not so much of a horror movie either.
So Tremors is a horror movie. It just so happens to be funny. Like, it's a creature feature. It's giant monsters eating people.
And then with Tremors 2 and then 3, it firmly goes into action movie territory.
Yeah. So, I think most horror movies to me, again, there are exceptions, typically have to have some supernatural or fantastical element. Not all of them. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't. It's just crazy cannibals in Texas. Second one's crazy cannibals in Texas up against cocaine-fueled Dennis Hopper, but I suppose he's a fantastical element.
But on the other side of possible cannibals, they're not supernatural, but the Wrong Turn movies are mutations.
They're not supernatural, but they fall into that.
They're not quite just human.
They're not quite just human. So, and the same thing with like The Hills Have Eyes. So for those two, they're pretty firmly in the horror genre. But like I said, usually, like the real problem is, for me, for characterizing these things, is what if they have those elements, but it's not a horror movie? Like, there are vampire movies that I would not consider horror movies.
Day Shift.
I was thinking Blade, but...
Well, I mentioned Day Shift because we were talking about it just a few minutes before we started recording, and it was fresh in my mind.
Yeah, or like the Underworld movies. I don't consider those horror movies. They're action movies that have some of the trappings of horror movies.
Yeah.
But then almost every version of Dracula should be considered a horror movie, because you're dealing with monsters. But some of them don't have any sense of dread to them. They've got the supernatural element, but they don't have any real, But then again, I don't think horror movies have to be actually trying to scare you. Because, first of all, I think at least for me, after a certain point, like, that just doesn't happen, Like, I occasionally come across one that's unsettling, but, like, it's been a long time since a horror movie actually scared me. So, can't say the same for people that have gone to watch horror movies with me. As I mentioned in another video, notably my cousin, who I took to go watch Paranormal Activity, and he wanted to leave about halfway through. I, being the dutiful cousin, did not let him. So, but Paranormal Activity is one of those movies where there is definitely a sense of dread, and it's definitely a horror movie. But it falls into that, like, if found footage movies just don't work for you, you're not going to find it. You're not going to find anything dreadful about it. Because found footage movies, they require you to be able to turn off that part of your brain that's saying, well, this is obviously fake. Because you know it. We like them. They know it. We know it. We know that they know it. They know that we know it. Like, we're all just playing pretend here. We all know this.
In an example, I can't turn my brain off for a found footage movie.
Which ones have you watched?
Cloverfield.
Well, Cloverfield has like one too many obvious, like, this is clearly not a found footage movie. Like, and then their camera's a little bit too good.
Every trailer for a found footage movie I've seen is like, that just doesn't appeal to me. And it's not the subject of the movie, it's just the concept of it.
Well, I think you should give the Paranormal Activity movies a shot.
No, I will watch a first-person movie.
A first-person movie?
Yeah.
Like that 5-minute segment in Doom?
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Hardcore Henry.
So, like I said, I would check out the Paranormal Activity. Well, at least the first one. If you like the first one, watch the second one. After that, it's, proceed at your own risk. But, no, the first one's good. And, it works. It looks like it's footage that a guy shot on a home camera and then security cameras and things like that. And it's pretty freaky. So, especially at the end. And then the second one is technically almost entirely a prequel to the first one, except for about the last 10 minutes, which take place after the events of the first movie. And they do feature the guy fighting his possessed wife down in the basement and the rumble in the basement, which basically looks like a very poorly shot, like, WWE event. Not gonna lie. Then, well, usually the problem with those is the fantastical element.
Yeah.
Okay, like with Cloverfield, the big problem is like the creatures, you can see them too clearly. Especially the end. That there's a shot just before the very end where you actually get like this perfect shot of the monster. Like that just wouldn't happen with a camera like that. But it's going to happen because to sell the movie, So that's less of a problem in Paranormal Activity. There's only one or two shots where it's something supernatural and it's crystal clear, so you can see it. But for the most part, it's just like evil shit that's happening. Also, fun fact, as you figure out 3/4 way through the movie, it's not the house that's haunted in Paranormal Activity. It's the woman. Like, it wouldn't have mattered if they left. So, and then as I was talking to Chad earlier, like the Hell House movies on Shudder, I think are good. They are found footage type movies. At least the first four. The fifth one's a regular movie. People were actually complaining that it wasn't a found footage movie. They were like, "What are you doing, guys? Like, you've got a pattern here. Like, stick with it." But it wouldn't have worked for the plot because it involved a few dream sequences, and like, how do you found footage that? You can't, because it doesn't happen in meat space here. So,
You have the person relating the dream to the camera and like start to relate it, and then you go wibbly wobbly and you have like cartoon segment.
Cartoon segment that would completely destroy the movie. But
like poorly drawn cartoon segment, like it slides on paper that someone's drawn these scenes out on.
So yeah, like I said, I don't think they have to have supernatural elements, but a lot of them do. So, because like where does Silence of the Lambs fall? Is it a horror movie?
That is a psychological thriller.
Okay, but think about what happens in that movie. Like, I'm not arguing against it. I'm just saying, consider for a moment, we have a serial killer. We have another guy in prison who ate people. The serial killer is taking people's skin and wearing it. Like,
I found something out about that movie recently.
What's that?
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
Is the chief of police from Monk.
Yeah. You know that?
No, that blew my mind.
He's the voice of the truck driver in Joyride, if you ever watch it. You might like it. But, yeah, so like they don't always have to have those things, but some of them do. But then you also have the movies that do have them that aren't horror movies. Like Teen Wolf. He's a werewolf, but that's clearly not a horror movie. Something out there.
It's not. It's a comedy.
So
The Frighteners is also a comedy, and it has ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, The Frighteners is kind of a horror movie, though. But see, that's where we're coming to like, does Ghostbusters qualify?
Just because I don't think so.
I mean, it has all the trappings of a horror. Like, it's got the ghosts, which are typically associated with horror movies. We have some of the ghosts are gruesome looking,
So, this goes back to my point. In Ghostbusters, you don't get that sense of dread.
Yeah, I think the problem is that like most horror movies don't necessarily get a sense of dread anyway, because
No, it doesn't have to be a sense of dread meant to put us in in that sense. It's the movie has to feel like there's a sense of dread to it.
Maybe.
Dale and Tucker versus the Evil.
Never saw it. Oh, that famed moment whenever me, the man who's seen almost everything out there, relays that there's some movie I have not seen, and someone just looks at me like I'm just growing a second head or something.
How can you have not seen it?
It just happens.
Oh.
I don't know what to tell you. You tell me about Adam Sandler movies, I haven't seen most of those.
But this is a movie right up your alley.
You would think so. I mean, I had never watched The Howling until like 6 months ago.
I've never seen it either.
Well, it's werewolf movies. There's like 8 of them. I've watched the first 3. And I watched them out of order too. I watched the second one first. So then I had to watch the first one so I understand what the hell's going on in the second one. And then I watched the third one that has nothing to do with the other 2. It involves Australian werewolves, which, fun fact, in that movie universe are marsupials. Just like every other animal in Australia. Yeah, the third one was a trip, Chad. Like, I actually recognized like 4 actors in that movie. And it's one of those like, is there really this small of a pool of actors in Australia? Because one was the guy from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, who's like man in the booth, the bald guy with the monocle or whatever, whenever Max shows up. And he's like, deposit all your weapons, and he dumps everything out there. That guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a movie producer. In the first Mad Max movie, the kind of, I'm going to say this as delicately as I can, the kind of big dumb guy that's with that old woman that they move in with.
Yeah.
He's in it. He's the leader of the Australian werewolves. And then the other two are from Crocodile Dundee. Do you remember Nugget? He was one of the guys there in the bar.
Nugget.
Shorter guy. And
yeah.
In the second one of the drug dealers comes up to him and is like, oh, you should have bought a gun, not a six-pack, mate. He's like, oh, I don't need a gun. I've got a donk. It's like, what's a donk? And turns into that guy behind him like, I'm a donk, and punches him.
Yeah.
Well, he's also in it, by the way, donk. Those are the four people. And I was just like, seriously? Like, are there this few? Like, is Paul Hogan in here somewhere? I just didn't see him. Hell, for a while, I thought the main younger guy, I thought he was Crichton from Farscape for a few minutes. But I don't think he's Australian, is he? Or is he? He is, right? Because Farscape was filmed in Australia. Most of the actors are Australian.
Yeah. And
then they jumped over to Stargate.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, you know, the woman, is it Zan, the blue woman?
Yeah.
She's in The Road Warrior. She's the warrior woman that's with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess there is this like 5 actors in all.
Random fact for her, by the way.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish's mom.
Really?
Yep.
Did not know that. I could have got her autograph at one point. I probably should have.
You should have.
But, so yeah. So The Howling 3, I have not watched the other 5 yet. I haven't been able to bring myself to do it. Because the third one ends with, like, this guy's trying to convince the world they exist, the werewolves. And, like, there's a Russian werewolf that's coming to mate with the Australian werewolf. So she's not a marsupial because she's a Russian. And then, like...
So what, she's a bear?
No, she's a werewolf. She's not a marsupial. She doesn't have a pouch. Because most of the animals in Australia are marsupials.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they're equivalent to mainland animals. I've got a book about evolution that talks about this. How even though they were marsupials, they still like filled the same niches. So they're still very structurally very similar to mainland animals, just they happen to be marsupials.
What about the drop bears?
I don't know.
What are their mainland counterparts?
I don't know. They talked primarily about like dingoes and things like that. So anyway,
what's the kangaroo's mainland counterpart?
He doesn't have one. The Australians hate kangaroos. That's what Chris tells me anyway. That's why everyone has those brush guards, the big beams on the front of their vehicles, so they can just run into them and take them out without hurting their vehicle.
Yeah, because otherwise the vehicle's going to be destroyed and the kangaroo hops away.
Well, I know. I'm saying like they don't like the kangaroos because of that.
Well, they don't like the emus either, but they lost a war to them.
Oh, the Great Emu War. I always love that one. It's one thing we don't reference nearly enough on this channel. Just like every chance Jimmy and I get, we talk about that episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where we find out Dr. Crusher her grandmother was sleeping with a ghost. You know what episode I'm talking about?
Yes.
We reference that one every chance we get. I really need to rewatch it.
Is that a horror episode for Star Trek?
Well, actually, we talked about that in the last podcast episode, and Jimmy brought that up. He's like how some shows have occasional horror episodes, and I think that's one of them.
But you don't get a sense of dread from it, really.
No, but I think the one episode of the original series, and I mentioned this, I think it's called Devil in the Dark or something, where they're like in mines underground, and there's a creature that's like burrowing through. It's like a lava monster thing, and it's eating random people.
You're talking about the one how they solve it is that they glue the piece they shot off of it back onto it.
I don't remember. I know Spock like mind melts with it.
Yeah.
So it can talk. And then they realize that the things they're mining are its eggs. And they're like, oh, yeah, we did notice it's awfully convenient that those big bundles of resources were just sitting here. I guess that's why. But, no. So, the end of the movie, like, some of the werewolves have gone into hiding. And one guy was, like, working with an intel guy. And, like, he finds him in the outback, like, 10 years later. And he's like, you guys don't have to hide anymore. Like, the Pope came out and said that werewolves are human too and one of God's creatures. And I'm just like, that's where we're going with this? That the Pope gave the okay for werewolves? Even though in most other literature and fiction, werewolves are like literally like the spawn of Satan and whatnot. And I was just like, well, that's certainly a way to go.
Yeah, it's something.
So yeah, that's how messed up that one is.
So here's a question for you. Is Aliens a horror movie?
Aliens? Aliens is an action movie. One, just because purely it's action, but two, Cameron actually talked about that in an interview at one point. Talked about how, like, the horror of the first movie is the alien, some of the mystery behind it, and figure out what it does. But after the first movie, you know all that. So there's no point even trying to continue that. It's throw a shitload of them at the screen and guys with guns fighting them. That was his philosophy. Now, speaking of Cameron, though, I think The Terminator's a horror movie. It's a slasher. It just so happens the slasher is a robot from the future.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, it's gunning down. It's got its criteria for what it's after.
Sarah Connor.
And like a lot of slashers, it's virtually indestructible. You know, you can't reason with it. You know, can't bargain with it. So
I'll give you that.
Now, the other movies in the franchise, no. You know, Terminator 2 and then the 4 attempts to make Terminator 3. Saw that comment the other day and I was like, yeah, that's about right. But no, that one is, and Predator's a horror movie. Again, it's a slasher movie. It's just that the first half of it leads you to believe it's an action movie until you realize that they're being hunted.
Yeah.
You know, and then it switches gears into horror mode.
And then Predator 2 is clearly a horror movie. Doesn't try to be an action movie.
Yeah, I would say 2 is still pretty firmly entrenched in horror. I didn't say, to an extent, I didn't say Predators is. That's the third one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though they are, supposed to be like the best of the soldiers on Earth,
right?
They are still in an unfamiliar territory. There is that sense of dread there.
Yeah.
You do get the occasional jump scare.
So I did see a guy was talking about how a lot of horror movies, that a lot of people that make them don't understand what makes a good horror movie. And his example of a good one is Alien, and his point was that, like, it's scarier when the people are competent and they're still getting killed. Because, like, you say you watch Friday the 13th, okay?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Friday the 13th movies? Jason?
Nope. What? Yes, I have. I've seen one movie.
Which one?
Jason X.
Well, first of all, Jason X is awesome. But second of all, you jumped into the wrong part of the series, Chad.
It can only get better from there, though.
Well, I mean, kind of. So anyway, the plot to basically every Friday the 13th movie is dumb people try to reopen the camp and then get killed for it for being dumb. And, like, no one is competent. Not that it matters against Jason. He's after part 5 or 6, he's a zombie killing machine, and in part 10 he becomes a fucking cyborg. So, like, it's not that competency would matter against Jason, but the fact that everyone is incompetent means you're rooting for Jason. You're like, well, clearly this person's going to die, and so that's an okay movie, but I don't think it's a great horror movie because there's never any sense of, like, oh, this person might make it. Like, no. You see in the beginning, like, you're already doing the calculus, like, this guy's not going to make it. Like, oh, no, this person's IQ is way too low to survive this movie. And yes, because of horror movie rules, and I hate to mention this, but in most horror movies, if you see non-white characters, it's a pretty good bet that they're going to be among the first to die, in fact. That just happens, Chad. I don't make the rules.
There are some movies that doesn't happen in.
There are. There's at least one exception that I know of for sure, and it's the 13th Ghost. And this movie...
Yeah, she survives to the end of the movie. Just fine.
Yeah. Have you seen 13th Ghost?
Yeah. Okay. Tony Shalhoub at some of his best.
I wouldn't quite go that far. I don't think he was at the best in that movie.
It's not Monk, but it is a pretty good movie.
I mean, Matthew Lillard was at least, like, not typical Matthew Lillard. And by the way, I feel sorry for Matthew Lillard. Like, he clearly was typecast after a certain point.
Yeah,
they were just like,
Scream.
They were just like, all right, be a total spazoid. And he's like, all right.
That's what you want.
And so I do feel bad for him because, like, he sounds like a reasonably intelligent individual from what I've seen.
And a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, 13th Ghost. Like, as I was watching this movie, I came to a realization halfway into this movie, and I was like, oh my God, there's only 5 people in this house. The death count in this movie is going to be stupidly low. I was like, the kids aren't going to die. The dad, 50-50, might be a noble sacrifice. The end, don't know. This is why I hadn't seen the rest of the movie yet. But I was like, but at the very least, the annoying babysitter, and I hate to say this, but, like, yes, she was a woman. Yes, she was black. I was like, at the very least, I know horror movie rules say she's going to die and it's going to be bad. And then she survived to the end, and I was like, holy shit. Like, what happened here? Like, she was so annoying. Like, I wanted her to die. Everyone else is at least kind of competent, But then, like, then the random extra woman shows up, and I was like, well, we might have one more death here. At least we've got her. We don't know her backstory. It's not going to be too tragic when she dies. when the inevitable double cross happened, it's like, that's a bad way to go, though.
Yeah.
And then, of course, finding out that F. Murray Abraham was not dead, was not a ghost. I was like, he's about to be. That's the only way this is going to end. But yeah, like all the deaths are at the beginning of the movie in the junkyard, which was funny because it's the same people who make Ghost Ship. Did you ever see Ghost Ship?
Yes, I have actually.
Ghost Ship has a lot of deaths in it. Yeah, they're at the beginning, but they're again later on in the movie.
Yeah.
And then almost the whole crew gets taken out. Actually, everyone except for, is it Julianne Margulies? Is that her name?
I don't know.
Anyway, I love the ending of that movie, though.
The fact that she's like, makes it back and tells about everything that happened.
Well, I don't know if she tells anybody, but then, you see the people loading the crates up onto the ship, and you see the guy going after.
Did you not notice everything else about the people loading the stuff on the ship?
It's not the same actors. They look like them, but it's not them.
Oh.
Yeah. That's one of those, like, people notice, like, yeah, they look like the other crew members that got killed. That's supposed to tip you off as it's in the background, so then you see him, plus the music that fires up at that point. But yeah, that was a good movie. Yeah, that company, they were remaking a bunch of older horror movies. I think that one's a remake. I think 13th Ghost is a remake. I know House on Haunted Hill is a remake. Never watched the original. It's been surprising. I hear it's good.
Yeah?
There's a clip I see used for how I convince people to play D&D. And he's like, tonight there'll be festivities, scares, maybe even a murder or two.
Yeah, if you get the right D&D party, they're the ones that are going to murder everything.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So, let's see. Chad, what are some others you've seen that you think are good horror movies?
What type of horror?
It's open-ended. Doesn't have to be slashers.
Hellraiser.
Okay. How many of them do you think are good? Best guess.
Skip that one.
Uh-oh.
3. 3 of them are good.
3 of them? 3 out of 8. That's not a good ratio.
Here's the bad thing.
So I know 1 and 2 you're probably calling good ones.
Yes.
But then what's the third one? Because I heard you say
the most recent one.
The one without Doug Bradley?
Yes.
That's heresy, Chad.
The one where Pinhead is actually a female.
I haven't seen that one.
You should. It is a good Hellraiser movie.
Which also makes the ratio even worse. Because that's actually 9 movies then. Because Doug Bradley's been hitting 8 of them.
Yeah.
You're bringing it outside. So you're saying 1/3 of the franchise is good and the rest is just...
The rest is watchable.
Okay, well, what are some of your issues with the others? Like, say part 3. Let's just start there.
Okay, the third one, that's the one where you get the column, right? Because at the end of the second one, spoilers for older movies, folks, sorry.
Yeah, spoilers.
At the end of the second one, Pinhead, breaks out of everything and resumes his Colonel whatever personality and goes against...
The Doctor.
The Doctor, who is, now the mouth of Leviathan.
Yeah.
And he, at the end of it, gets stuck in that stone pillar. So, honestly, the creatures you end up with in part 3 are just downgrades all around.
Didn't like the guy with the CDs in his head?
No.
The guy with the camera shoved through his eye?
No.
Alright, fair enough.
And then, what was 4?
4 is Bloodlines. That's the one that shows throughout history. It shows the guy creating the cube, and then also the guy trying to destroy Pinhead in the future.
The future parts.
Like future parts?
No. If it would have simply been, here's Bloodlines Part 1 showing how the cube was made, expand that out, would have been good. Because then you get Pinhead, or you get the equivalent of Pinhead in history. And you see it's not just something in the modern day, but how are these people in the past going to deal with it?
Yeah.
It twists everything, because one, you can have different monsters. You don't have to have Pinhead. Although if you go into the lore of it, it makes sense there's always been a Pinhead. And then go with the modern day parts of it.
For what it's worth, they're called Cenobites.
Specifically, Pinhead is their leader.
I know. I'm just saying in general, they're called Cenobites.
Yes, in general, the creatures are called Cenobites.
Not to be confused with Cinnabon.
Yes, the Cinnabon makes Cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat anything Pinhead makes.
Nope.
Nail cake. Probably.
I know some people that like that, but
Well, it's like
Carpenters mainly.
Have you seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show? It's a serious question. I know it didn't take you to the drive-in to go watch it like it did Jimmy, so I don't know if you've seen it.
You mean...
So based on your reaction, answer could be yes or no. It could be the, do you think I'd watch something like that? Or it could be the, come on, obviously I'd watch that. Like,
come on, obviously I have watched it.
I know you're...
We've had conversations about it before.
I don't remember those shit. So, anyway.
You need to oil that still trap of your memory.
If you pay attention during the time warp, there's a point where Riff Raff like pulls a donut out of his pocket and offers it to Brad, and Brad's just like, that's the way I view whatever Pinhead might try to convince you to eat.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think the future parts of Bloodlines is what ruins it.
What about, I don't remember if it's 5 or 6, it's where they bring back the girl from the first two. And she's like involved in something else and crosses paths with Pinhead yet again.
I'm trying to think which one that was.
It's 5 or 6. I just don't remember.
Is that the one where it's actually focusing on her husband and they think she's dead the entire time?
Well, I don't remember the whole, they think she's dead the entire time, but it was kind of focused on her husband, yeah.
Yeah, that one, I don't know. The whole plot of that one just didn't appeal to me that much.
All right. Well, what about the Phantasm series?
Those are good movies.
Do you like the 5th one?
Which is the 5th one? Is that the one where it's flashing between two worlds and it's like,
yeah.
Is he a crazy guy in a home, or is he actually this warrior that's been hunting down the tall man and his short munchkins?
Yeah, it spends way too much time on the dwarf character that just showed up in the 5th one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one I find the most questionable quality-wise out of the whole movie series.
Yeah.
Because I can forgive cheap CGI. I can forgive all kinds of stuff with the movie. I just think it becomes a total slap in the face to people who have sunk time into the movies to suddenly get scenes of he's in a mental hospital, he's going crazy. That's not so much an issue with the movie itself, but it still makes me dislike it.
Yeah.
Because it's the 5th one, right?
Yeah.
So you've watched 4 other movies where there's been no hint of this.
Yeah. See, that's the 5th one's the only one I'm sketchy on. I've only watched it the one time. I think they could have ended the series with 4. Like, there's no resolution, but like, I mean, after the other 3, like, I wasn't really expecting one.
Oh.
You know, because in fact 4 heavily implies that it's a time loop, because it ends with a deleted scene from the first movie, where Mike jumps on the Reggie's ice cream truck, and he hears like this whisper, and Reggie's like, "What was that?" And Mike's like, "Oh, nothing," but like has that knowing smile, and I think the implication is that like he has come back to that point in time, you know, and I think it could have just ended the movies right there.
I mean, technically, Phantasm, like any one of them, could have been a good end with the understanding this fight and all just continues to go on.
Well, sure.
I think the 5th one was... It ruined itself with the modern day segments. The non-apocalyptic segments. Let's call them that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you think a horror movie needs to be considered a good horror movie?
A compelling reason these people just don't nope out.
So, okay. See, I've got the feeling that's coming from the same place that I think that setting them in the modern era, you run into all kinds of problems.
Modern era. What does everybody have these days? Cell phone.
Exactly.
What is hard to shut down in the modern era for the common person? Cell phone.
Yeah, so they all have to have that moment of like, oh, I've got no reception, you know, or whatever.
Or that moment at the start where it's, everybody put all your cell phones in this one bag that will then conveniently get destroyed.
Yeah. Well, I know the recent movie I watched that dealt with it went with there's just really shitty reception out here. That was the movie Clown in a Cornfield, by the way.
But it's setting it in the modern day. It's not just the issue of cell phones.
I think that's the biggest issue, though.
It's it is a really, really big issue because a lot of these monster movies where it's like, oh, there's no monster there to get the sequels. Your phone has a camera.
Yeah.
But it's also like, we have a bunch of cameras watching us every day that's not on a cell phone.
Sure. I mean, that's...
You go into your local grocery store, they have security cameras.
Yeah, sure, but how many times has the horror or whatever happened in the local grocery store? I mean, I can think of 2 movies where it does, but...
The Mist?
No, because it wouldn't matter in The Mist.
I'm just saying, horror movie, it is in the local grocery store.
Well, sure, but it's irrelevant if the cameras are there because there's far too many witnesses, plus the military's fighting the monsters at the end.
But...
No, I mean, like, the remake of My Bloody Valentine is part of it that's in a grocery store. But the thing is, at that point, no one's questioning if there's a murderer killing people. I don't think. I only watched the movie one time. And so having the person on film doesn't help anything because they never take the mask off or anything.
Yeah.
So, like, you're proving that there's a killer we already know is out there. Okay. And then the other is towards the beginning of Scream 6. But again, it's a killer in a mask wearing gloves that we know exists. So
I more meant that for, like, the creature features.
Sure, but now we have the convenient excuse, though. That's not real. That's clearly AI.
Or that's clearly CGI for a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a brief window where that was a less compelling argument, because then it becomes like, who's going to spend the kind of money to do that? Whereas now it's like, all right, Grok, make this image for me, and so yeah, like the movie Clown in a Cornfield. It was, hey, there's terrible reception out here, so no one could call the cops. In fact, that was actually there was a real payoff to that. They're like, well, we need to get to so and so's house. That we know these people live nearby. Like, let's go there. We'll use their phone. And so there's a bunch of like teenagers, and they get there, and it's a rotary phone, and they're like, how do you call out on this thing? Like, what do you do? And I was just like, yes, excellent. Like, that joke was totally worth it. Because they pick, like, the phone's ringing, so she picks it up, and it's just the dial tone. She's like, I think it's disconnected or something. I don't know what this means. And like, because I saw a video one time, this guy's like, here you go. Here's a phone number. Here's the rotary phone. You've got 10 minutes to call this number. And the kid said they never could figure it out.
And the guy was offering money if they could get it dialed out.
So you have that, but I think horror movies have figured out, well, the solution to this is we're just going to set them all back in the 70s and 80s. Even though they weren't filmed then, we're going to make them so they take place then. So that they don't...
Or the 90s. In early 90s, the cell phones weren't prevalent enough.
Well, early 90s, the cell phones are still cell phones. Like
yeah.
Scream. Like, it's to make phone calls. It's not the computer in your pocket that can record everything. And also, like, oh man, apparently these monsters are real. Let me look up the folklore on them. Okay, now I know how to defeat them. Whereas back in the 70s, you're like, oh my god, like, my whole world's just been turned upside down. These things are real. Like, I'm probably screwed.
Now, there is a certain type of horror movie you could set in the current years. Rogue AIs.
Yeah.
Killer robots.
Yeah, there's some of those in the 80s too. Like Chopping Mall.
There's not going to be lore you can look up on your phone.
Yeah.
If it is an AI or killer robot, there are going to be secret government experiments that are going to have scrambling technology that's going to make your phone not work around them. No phone calls out.
Yeah. Yeah, you should check out Chopping Mall sometime. We're supposed to believe that this shopping mall buys these, like, robot tanks that roam around the mall at night and have laser weapons as security. And I'm just like, that would have cost you, like, $500 million to build something like that in the 80s. And you've got 3 of them. Or you could hire, like, 2 guys for, like, $5 an hour because it's the 80s. And let them smoke inside because it's the 80s.
They'd probably argue for $7.50 an hour.
Maybe.
The whole, well, I gotta give up my nights and my time with my family. I better have a work.
I'll give you the night shift differential. But yeah, it's like in Ghostbusters when they hire Winston, and I don't remember what he said he was going to make from the job. It was like $14,000 a year or something. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, you're in New York. Like, I don't care if it's the 80s. You can't survive on that. Like, what are you doing, Winston? Like,
he desperately needed the money.
Yeah, apparently by the lore, like, between 1 and 2, he apparently got a couple doctorates. So by 2, he's, like, with them, level-wise.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the others picked up a couple more doctorates themselves.
I'm just saying, at that point, he was more than just the average guy,
Well, yeah, he probably got tired of these.
He was actually like a contributing in a more
intellectual
way, yeah.
Instead of just being the muscle.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I saw a thing. He was talking about that one time about how originally the part was written for Eddie Murphy, and like once they cast him, like they kind of started whittling down the part, and he was kind of like, that sucks, but hey, it's a huge movie. I launched my career, and I had the best lines in the movie, so
he did.
And I was like, yeah. And I feel like the newer movies kind of were like, man, we might have done Winston a little dirty. Like let's give him a bigger role here in these two, or at least the more recent of the two. What the hell was it called? The Frozen one.
I don't know. I haven't watched either of those.
Really?
Yeah.
They're both good.
Okay.
I mean, you should definitely check them out. They're a lot better than Ghostbusters 2016, which I finally checked out. I should have checked out.
I have not watched that either.
That's a horror movie.
For a different reason.
Yeah. But,
horror movies can't be a horrible experience to watch them.
Horrible in what way?
That you can't physically make yourself watch the movie, as in, oh my god, this movie sucks, when does it end?
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of horror movies that do that. What about one that actually makes you physically ill if you know something about the movie?
Which one?
You ever seen Cannibal Holocaust?
I have not.
So, you know how at the end of a movie in the credits there's that little line that says no animals were harmed during the filming of this movie?
Yeah, that's absent from Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, also absent from Cannibal Holocaust. And what I'm about to tell you is way worse than Apocalypse Now.
They actually killed someone on film?
No, it's not someone. Also, I think I mentioned this in another video I was talking with Jimmy. Cannibal Holocaust is also technically a found footage movie. It's from the 70s. But there's the movie, then within the context of the movie, the people have found the footage, okay? So we have like actual movie parts, and it cuts to the found footage parts, okay? And these people went to the Amazon, and as the title implies, obviously met up with some cannibals. By the time they do, you are rooting for the cannibals. Because as the people are progressing, they kill several animals. And the guy who made the movie was told that the Asian market liked authenticity. So what you're seeing is them actually killing animals. More importantly, one of those scenes required a second take. Yeah, the movie has 2 warnings about it in front of it. I saw it on Joe Bob Briggs' show. It was the end of season 1, I believe. And he literally opens the show with well, I think we all knew we'd get here at some point. Hopefully we'll have a show after this. And even his episode had a warning in front of it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's a couple turtles and some other animals, straight up murdering them on screen. So yeah, I was totally rooting for the cannibals at the end. They had it coming. Interesting footnote, this movie was remade, sans actual animal cruelty, by Eli Roth, called The Green Inferno. That's what his version's called. Basically the same movie.
So watch that one, not the other one.
It's up to you. Green Inferno is pretty graphic. But, I don't watch all of it. So, yeah, I mean, you get that occasionally. Movies like that, or like the Poltergeist movies, where you find out about the awful things that happen to the people in the movies. Have you seen any of the Poltergeist movies? Not the remake with Sam Rockwell, but the ones from the 70s and 80s. Or 80s and 90s. The first one was directed by Tobe Hooper.
What are those movies about?
About a house that's haunted.
No, I've not seen it.
The first one's got Craig T. Nelson. You know who that is?
Yeah.
He's the dad. I don't know who the mom is. In fact, I can't think of the names of any of the other people that are in the movie. But, so the house is haunted, and it begins escalating. And towards the end, it really just goes. And eventually the house is literally just sucked into a vortex and consumed. And they find out he is a salesman who sells plots of land. And he's talking to his boss, and he's like, oh, would you want a house up here on this nice hill up here? And they're talking, and he's like, well, I would, but they kind of turn around and he's like, there's a big graveyard right here. And he's like, oh, well, we'll move that. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, we've done it before. He's like, where? He goes, well, down there in the valley where your house is. And then you find out they didn't move the graveyard, they just moved the headstones. So the folks are pissed, and they're focusing all their ire on him and his family. So, not the younger daughter, but the older daughter, the actress that played her, was murdered. Then the second movie, I think a different set of paranormal dead folks are now after the girl from the first movie, the younger girl, because she's someone they think that they can take them into the light, let them pass on.
Yeah.
All right. And there's a Native American gentleman that joins them. He died shortly thereafter. And then there's a third movie where all the rest of the cast got the hell out of there, except for the little girl. I believe she died not too long after that.
Sounds an awful lot of coincidences there.
Yeah. You got two choices on coincidence. Well, I guess three choices. There's people that believe in coincidences. Then you can be like in. I'll leave the name of the movie here in a second, but it has Brad Pitt, Michael Fassbender. Brad Pitt's his connection to some drug dealers, and he took into some things, and the Counselor is the name of the movie. So some things happen, and there's some they are totally coincidences because we see everything from their perspective. And so he's talking about the car. Brad Pitt's trying to explain to Michael Fassbender, like, it's not going to matter if you go talk to these people. Like, he's like they believe in coincidences. They've heard about them. They've just never seen one. And so, like, some things are coincidental involving some things, and the cartels aren't going to believe that. Or there's Garrick's approach. He's like, because I think it's Bashir. Is like, oh, in Deep Space Nine. He's like, oh, let me guess, you don't believe in coincidences? Garrick's like, no, coincidences happen all the time. He's like, but sometimes they're not, or something like that. Like sometimes it's a little too coincidental. One of those kind of comments. But yeah, Garrick's great.
He is.
He's the dad in the first Hellraiser movie. Also, did you ever see the movie Cobra?
Sylvester Stallone?
Yes.
Where he handles a hostage situation at a supermarket, and then goes home, and the next morning he has a pizza, Pepto-Bismol, raw egg smoothie.
Yeah, that's the one.
Nope, never seen it before.
The one that originally The Touch by Stan Bush was supposed to be in.
Yep, can't figure out where that song's supposed to go either.
That's got to be the credits. That's the only place I'd work. If I ever somehow meet Stan Bush, that's going to be my question. I have to know, where was this going to actually go in the movie? That's what you want to know? Yes, that's it. That's all I need to know from you.
Yes. We found out, going to watch Transformers the movie, an anniversary in theaters, that you said it was supposed to be in this movie. Where was it supposed to go? Because it does not match the rest of the movie anywhere.
No. That might actually be back out in theaters next year. 86, it'll be the 40th anniversary.
Yeah?
Hope so. Go watch it again. But, Cobra, the internal affairs guy that kept busting his chops at the end and punched him in the face. Him.
Yeah.
That's Garrick. He's also the killer in the first Dirty Harry movie. You ever watch that?
I have.
Yeah, that's him. Whatever. That definitely had an ending that you wouldn't think would ever lead to a sequel, because Harry corners him and he just blows him away, and he takes his badge and tosses it because he knows, it's like, oh, I just killed the guy.
It's over with now. I've lost my job.
And then there were 4 more movies.
Because it was proven that he was correct.
Yeah, I like the Dirty Harry movies. Cobra is basically a Canon Pictures knockoff of that, by the way.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I like how he takes care of the 2 bad guys at the end of the movie, though.
It has been forever since I've watched Cobra.
Brian Thompson is one of them. He's the big guy that plays Shao Kahn in the second Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
A definite stain on his record, by the way. That movie sucks.
Yeah.
He puts him up on a big hook thing, through his back, and it takes him through the blast furnace.
Ooh.
It's one of those that's gonna leave a mark. Yeah, I believe that's where Stallone met his future wife, Bridget Nielsen.
Probably.
She also played Red Sonja.
I know.
Was also in Beverly Hills Cop 2 as somebody, one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
With Jürgen Prochnow of Das Boot fame. And many other movies, but mainly Das Boot. Oh, and Dune. The 80s Dune.
Yes.
He was Duke Leto.
He was.
Yes. The Sleeper Must Awaken. Yeah. Not as good as Patrick Stewart, though, going into battle holding the role, or the Royal Pups.
A royal pug, which you do see earlier in the movie, by the way.
See him later in the movie, too. Whenever, towards the end, he's back here in the background, he's got him with him. But
it might have just been his pug.
That's just Patrick Stewart's.
Yeah, he's like, it's going to be in the movie. Deal with it.
Yeah, it could be. But, yeah. So, Chad, you ever watch any horror shows?
Like...
Well, okay, so I actually got a request. I'm going to make a video separate for this. But I got a request for, like, recommendations for shows. Now, I put Stranger Things in there.
I mean, I did watch...
Because Stranger Things is...
a couple of seasons of that.
It is primarily horror drama. You know, it's sci-fi horror, you know. It's not super dreadful, but, like, there are horrific things happening in that. You know, creatures from another dimension that eat people. Like, I think it's pretty firmly in the horror category.
Plus, there are supernatural things there.
Yes. Plus, you need to watch it now because the final season is about to begin. We've only waited 9 years for season 5. We didn't have this problem back in the 80s and 90s.
No.
Star Trek The Next Generation had 7 seasons across 7 years with 20-some-odd episodes each.
Do you know why?
Because they filmed a lot of episodes all at once. Syndication is why.
Syndication, yes.
Yeah.
They had to guarantee new episodes for the big time slots.
Yeah.
Every week.
Which is amazing for Deep Space Nine, because I don't know what everyone else's schedule was, but the channel I had to watch it on here is it WGN? Is that the one out of Chicago?
I think so.
It was on there, and it was on like 10 o'clock on Saturday night. It got preempted by baseball games all the time. So I'd have to like try to catch it at like 3 in the morning or hope it got... So I only caught like half of the Dominion War. I was like, this show's awesome. I wish I could see the rest of it sometime. Which I finally did. I watched the whole thing and did some videos on it. You got folks to check this out. Brian's in the middle of watching it right now. This is pretty good.
Nice. It is.
I need to do that with like The Next Generation though. Because I know there's got to be some episodes I missed.
You need to do that with Voyager.
I need to do that with Voyager so I can watch the whole show. Because I know got a Voyager at a certain point. I did that with Enterprise, and I now feel bad that I didn't watch Enterprise. It was way better than I expected. You know, it was a long road. Oh, the theme song. Like, it annoyed me at first. By the end, I was like, this isn't actually a bad song. It kind of fits. You know, it doesn't have that operatic quality that the others have, but, like, it works. But anyway, so you got that. You got, like, the X-Files. Not every episode of the X-Files is horror. It's like 1 in 5, maybe. But, you know, you had that.
Mm-hmm.
You had Tales from the Crypt on HBO. I'd argue Castlevania on Netflix is at least the first show. The second show's a little less, but it's still pretty in there.
There was a show growing up that was somewhat like Tales from the Crypt. Wasn't Goosebumps. I don't think it was Goosebumps. But it was a sort of monkey's paw situation where I can only remember like two of the episodes for it. One was a kid tired of his dad's rules, finds a key to the apartment across the hallway that no one's living in, and the rule, like from I guess the landlord, was if you have the key for that door, it's yours.
Okay.
And he goes over there and starts to break every rule his dad had, and well, people from other kids from the school find out, and they start to go in there and party every day.
Yeah.
He gets tired of it, gets locked out eventually, moves back in with his dad.
There you go.
The other one was literally just a art book where whatever was drawn inside of it came to life.
Well,
Can't remember the name of the show.
Sure, it was Goosebumps.
It might have been Goosebumps. I don't know. But we didn't have like satellite or anything growing up.
Yeah.
We had antenna.
Well, I know there's the Twilight Zone. It's mostly horror. The Outer Limits is kind of 50-50 between horror and sci-fi. There is currently a Creepshow show. They were movies that were like collections of stories. You know, there wasn't just one.
Yeah.
The first one is Leslie Nielsen's one of the killers.
Really?
Yeah, this is his pre Naked Gun days, I think. Although I think it's post Police Squad. A little bit for those of you who don't know. Like, if you ever look at the name of the title of the first Naked Gun movie, it's From the Files of Police Squad. There was a show, The Police Squad, which is what you see in the Naked Gun movies, but it's a TV show. And every episode had a guest star who died in the opening credits. Like William Shatner's in one of them. Like, he's sitting there in an Italian restaurant. Like, he ducks down, like bullets riddled where he's sitting. He sticks up machine guns and he chokes to death on a piece of garlic bread, if I remember right. You know, just stuff like that. And That's where, Frank Drebin and Ed and some of the other characters came from. I think Nordberg was not from the show. I think he's from the movies. By the way, I watched the new one.
And
I thought it was funny.
I need to watch it.
There is definitely some stupid humor that I call it, like things that just like, this is total nonsense, like what's happening here kind of things. But there's a lot of it's pretty good. Liam Neeson's pretty good. He's Frank Drebin Jr.
Junior?
Yeah.
So it's not a remake.
No, it's
a sequel.
It's a sequel, because there's like a moment where all the cops are at the wall with all their dads, and like his partner is Ed's son, and everything. And then there's this one black cop, and you see his dad's OJ, and he kind of looks at the camera and he's just like, it just walks off. And I was like, yeah, that's probably the best way to handle that. Acknowledging it, but know that we're not going to dwell on that. But no, it's pretty good. Pamela Anderson's in it. He gets pissed off at her at one point because he let her borrow his TiVo, and he's like, "Whatever you do, don't plug this into the internet," because like these shows have been like removed, and so like they're going they're talking about something really important. He looks over and he's like, "What's that?" She's like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "That's my TiVo." Why is it hooked up to your Ethernet? Why is it hooked up to your box? That's where the internet comes from. I told you not to hook it. She's like, I was trying to hook it. I was like, no. Let's see if anything's still on here. His shows are all gone. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And he's like, I loaned this to you so you could watch this, but now it's all gone. We're never going to see Xander. We're never going to see that episode where Willow runs into her doppelganger. Cordelia Chase. Like, it's all just gone. It's just like, wow. Like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Well, there's one to wonder about.
Is it a horror show?
Yeah. Like, I think some episodes are, but I think overall, Joss Whedon's just too smirky for it to really be an effective horror.
Yeah.
Like, I like the show, I want to be crystal clear, but like, I think Joss Whedon has overall actually done damage to dialogue in Hollywood, but that's just me.
I mean, maybe.
How many Marvel characters are just smarmy smartasses? I mean, that's not how any of them are in the comic, except maybe Tony Stark. It's all of them. Like Vision's like the only exception, probably.
Spider-Man?
Okay, maybe Spider-Man, but he's also post. Well, so it's Vision, but he's also post like Joss Whedon. Also, Joss Whedon wrote Alien Resurrection. Like, I know. I know you have different feelings on that movie than I do, but
yeah, but I'm not a big Joss Whedon fan.
Yeah. So yeah, like I don't consider Buffy a horror show.
It's more of a.
Like I said, there's a handful of episodes that are.
What about the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie?
The movie? No, not even. The movie's definitely a comedy, but again, it's one of those like, but it has the trappings of a horror movie.
Yep.
We've got vampires. We even have a vampire played by like a real actor in the form of Rutger Hauer, and then a vampire played by Pee Wee Herman.
I mean, you can't win at everything.
Yeah, you can't win them all, I guess. But was it Donald Sutherland?
Yeah.
Was the guy training her?
Yeah.
And Christy Swanson was Buffy.
Yep.
And Luke. What's his last name? Mr. Beverly Hills. Luke Perry was the boyfriend. He was in Beverly Hills 90210. But yeah. He did a few random movies on the Sci-Fi Channel too. I think his career really crashed.
Everyone's done a random movie or two for the Sci-Fi Channel.
Tracy Lords has. I met her once.
You constantly remind me of that.
Well, Chad, it's not every day that you meet an adult entertainment star who's also been in some real movies, who wrote a book about her exploits, and some other things I'm not going to go into on here. But yeah. Honestly, I thought she was there for Blade, because she's in that. You know she's in that?
No.
She's the redhead at the very beginning that brings the guy to the club.
Oh.
Yeah. Also in was it Crybaby with Johnny Depp, I believe. Also in Virtuosity.
Now there's a movie that doesn't get brought up a lot.
No. Russell Crowe is the villain. That basically never happens.
Nope.
Denzel is the cyborg cop who got convicted of murdering people that he didn't actually really, it wasn't really his fault, kind of. And some other people. Those are the only two you really got to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good movie. But she's in that. She's the woman at the club whenever Russell Crowe's character breaks in and starts shooting people. She's the woman singing, the blonde. The song she's singing is a song she does actually sing. She made a couple albums. It's one of them. Yeah. Fallen Angel, I believe, is the name of the song. I don't know about the name of the album, but that's the name of the song. Yeah.
I mean, like, There's the Sharknado movies. Dolph Lundgren's in one of those.
Sharknado movies. Also, someone from Beverly Hills 90210, Ian Ziering. He's the main guy.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Lava Lantula movie?
I have tried to find it somewhere to stream, and I cannot.
There's a really funny scene about 3/4 of the way through it. Steve Guttenberg's the main guy in that from Police Academy fame.
Yeah.
He runs across Ian Ziering's character, and he's like, "Hey, can you help with this?" Like, I got shark stuff. And he's like, "I got you." And they just go their separate ways at that point. I was like, "That's great." Oh, also, it's not just Steve Guttenberg. I don't know the guy's name. He plays Jonesy in the Police Academy movies, the sound effects guy.
Yeah.
He's in there too.
Does he do the sound effects?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And there's also a second one of those. There's 2 Lava Lantula movies.
Might have to take another look to see if I can't find it with Roku.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it's not like hopefully it is like this movie I came across. Colossus, The Forbin Project. I saw a video where guys like, "Oh, this movie's becoming increasingly hard to find." Look down in the comments. Someone's like, "Dude, it's on for free on Roku. What the hell are you talking about? Just search for it." Like, yeah, it's not any of the real streaming services. This is one of the rando ones that only Roku has, but like, it's free. Like, or you could buy the DVD for like $20.
Yeah.
Good movie, by the way. You should check it out. Like AI back in the 60s, early 70s.
No, but that's... Okay, so with all these streaming services, you'd think you would be able to find a complete series on one streaming service, right? Like complete movie series.
Well, that depends. I'm going to bring this back around to horror here.
Yeah, because it's related to that.
Phantasm?
No.
Because Phantasm 2 is made by a different studio.
No,
so sometimes you'll find 1, 3, 4, and 5. Because like Joe Bob did it for Shudder for Christmas. Because it's Silver Balls. And he only had 1, 3, 4, and 5. He didn't have 2. And he had to explain like, well, they're a different studio, different rights. That's why it's a different guy playing Mike, by the way. Or not. Yeah, Mike the kid. And then the third one, it's back to whatever Baldwin plays him. Not related to the other Baldwins, I don't think. Yeah.
No. Halloween.
Same problem, actually.
I have had to go to like 3 different streaming services to watch up to number 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
One, I had a subscription for whatever service it was on. 2, I tried to get your login information and watch it, but no, you want to give it to me in time.
I gave it.
I moved on to a different service that was free.
I could just let you borrow my DVDs.
And then, like, 3's on it.
Actually, I should have just given you my... this is why I want to know why you wanted it. I should have just given you my Fandango login.
I think you did with the Shudder one.
Because I have all the Halloween movies on there. So, including the 2 Rob Zombie ones.
I should just put Fandango on my TV and sign in with that.
Yeah.
That would make this so much easier.
It would. But anyway, the same problem with Halloween. Halloween 4 is made by a different studio, if I remember correctly. Because Halloween 2, they made... John Carpenter came back basically saying, okay, well, I'll make the second one or help you make it. He didn't direct it, he helped produce it and everything. On the condition that, like, this is the end, because there wasn't supposed to be a sequel. I know how the first one ends, but that's not supposed to be like, oh, Michael's still out there. It's like, no, Michael is he's the embodiment of death. You can't shoot death, you can't cheat death. Like, that's why he walks at 2 miles an hour and will outrun you. Like, because
he doesn't even walk at 2 miles an hour.
Because, like, you can't escape it, okay? That's the point, it's a metaphor. The second one was apparently you pissed death off, and now he's going to very violently kill everybody. Because I'm sure you noticed there was a dramatic escalation of violence between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's on purpose. Carpenter did that on purpose. So as they were filming...
Well, his original idea for 2 wasn't even that.
Well, as they were filming part 2, they filmed new scenes for part 1 for the NBC TV broadcast. There's scenes that by themselves don't lead to anything, but if you know what happens in part 2, they make sense. Because they're to tie into the whole, like, he's Laurie's brother. But they're just random scenes that don't specifically spell that out. So that's why Halloween, the first one, is one of the only movies that they actually released on DVD, the TV edit of it.
Yeah.
So, and then Halloween 3 was the same company. Still Mustafa Akkad is the producer. And,
he's been the producer up through at least Curse of Michael Myers.
Yeah, probably through 7 and 8 also.
Because his name's big, bold, right at the start of the movie. In every one of them.
Well, but unfortunately, little real world problem here. Mustafa Akkad was killed in a terrorist attack at a wedding in Turkey. So, yeah. Like, when it was happening on the news, like, they specifically mentioned it, I was like, wait a minute, Mustafa Akkad, I know who that is. And I was like, Damn. I mean, like, sucks all the way around. Like, being killed just in general sucks, but, like, something like that. I think it's one of his kids is the producer now. But anyway, so they were going to make part 4. And initially, they're like, all right, Carpenter, like, we got to bring back Michael Myers. Like, sorry, 3 sucked and, tanked at the box office. So
yeah, but...
Which is a shame because 3 is excellent.
It is. But also, when the Carpenter didn't want to make 2, but they brought him back. The studio wanted him to make another one.
Yeah.
So he took him a script. And they said, no, this is not what we want.
Yeah.
He was like, let me make this movie, and I guess I'll make you Halloween 2. Well, the movie he tried to get them to make ended up being Halloween 3.
Oh. He did the music for Halloween 3.
So
Halloween 4, he got the guy who did as him, his wife. She's the producer. She's one of the producers. And I can't think of her name off the top of my head. It's Deborah something, I think. And
Deborah Carpenter?
No.
Right.
It's Hollywood. It's Hollywood. People don't take last names.
Because they're set with the name that they have already, and if they change their name, they change their brand, and if they change their brand, they're unrecognizable.
Right. So he got the guy who did the novelization of the first movie and was like, hey, I got this idea, and he sat down and kind of spilled a bunch of stuff to him, and then he wrote up the script for it. And it was supposed to be that Michael Myers, like the town is like banned Halloween, and everyone's just like not talking about it, and it's all the resentment and anger and frustration and fear and everything builds up, and Michael Myers is supposed to come back as a spectral entity fueled by all that. And he took it to the studio, and then the studio's like, no, here's a bunch of money, like just take this and go away. And so the studio, they got shelved, and we kind of see some aspects of that in Halloween Ends, by the way, but you'll understand when you watch it.
Hold on. The whole Halloween's been canceled in Haddonfield, and there's resentment and such built up.
It's more the other parts, not the and Michael's not a specter in that one.
So
but it's the emotions and everything.
They literally just paid the guy money for they could use bits of it for a new movie.
I mean,
that way the guy couldn't file a lawsuit and go, hey, that's my idea. They changed pieces of it. He's a ghost, but theirs he's real.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. So they had to get a different studio. So Halloween 4 is a different studio from the others. And I think 4, 5, and probably 6 are the same studio. 7 and 8 are probably a different studio. And the newer one's a Blumhouse. So, and I don't remember who Rob Zombie made his under. So
it's like we're putting Fandango on the TV. Because I'm not jumping around anymore for these movies.
Well, I think I had a hard time. I think Fandango for a long time didn't have Phantasm 2 for the same reason I mentioned. There's still a bunch of movies that aren't on Fandango.
Surprising.
I think Chud is only fairly recently on there.
I can make Jordan sit through Chud.
But I don't think Chud 2 is on there. I don't think.
How is there a Chud 2?
Chud 2, Above the Chud. Or Bud the Chud.
Part 1.
I only watched part 2 once, and it was a long time ago.
Part 1 killed them all off.
Did it, though?
Well, it probably didn't end the cause of it, honestly.
The cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. Also gets referenced in an episode of The Simpsons. Homer has to go to New York because Barney stole his car, and it's parked between, this is going to date this one, parked between the 2 World Trade Center buildings. And so Homer has to go get it, and they're like, Dad, why don't you want to go to New York? He's like, I've been to New York once before. You never told us that? It was a dark time in my life or something like that. He's like, he shows they got robbed like 5 different times, and like from the bus stop to the apartment he was going to. And he's like, we're telling him all this stuff. And he's like, and then the Chuds attacked. And he's like, pulls his wallet out. He's like, you won't be getting this time, New York, and throws it in the fireplace. Lisa's like, Dad, our baby pictures were in there. They're irreplaceable. He's like, let's go. And he's there, and he's like, there's like a boot on the car and everything. And he's like, we'll have to be out of the city by sundown. And so like, this is the city. We got to get the hell out of here. He's like a jackhammer to take the thing off, and yeah. It's pretty good. That's a really good episode of Simpsons. But, yeah. You run into that, and it happens a lot with horror movies. It happens with Evil Dead. I know it seems like a seamless transition from Evil Dead to Evil Dead 2, but it's not.
Yeah. Because what is it? Evil Dead 2, they wanted to just use bits from the first one as here's where we left off, but they ended up having to reshoot.
Yeah. And it's because
half the movie ended up being the first one?
Kind of. Like the reshoots, like you think they're the same from the first one, but they're not. their reshoots. Of course, you also have a really weird case with Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2.
Never watched it.
Well, if you ever watch Part 2, you don't have to watch Part 1.
Why?
So, a little history. Silent Night, Deadly Night came out either the same weekend or the weekend before Friday the 13th. Not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. It made the mistake of having its advertisements during Little House on the Prairie. So the Concerned Mothers of America, what we called Karens in the 80s, called their local theaters, "You can't run this trash. This has Santa Claus killing people. You can't do this." So the movie lasted for a week in theaters and was moved on. Then Nightmare on Elm Street crushed the box office. Then this wonderful thing called VHS came along, and a company had bought the rights, and they released on VHS and made a lot of money because those women weren't concerned about that. So then the studio's like, "Hey, it'd be really awesome if we could make another movie. But we don't have enough money to do that. Can we just make another movie from the first movie?" Now, I know this sounds like an absolutely insane plan, and it is.
It sounds like it's fueled by, like, white powder.
Probably. So, they finally find a director who's like, "I can't do that exactly. I need about 40 minutes of new footage. It's going to cost about $100,000. I need like 2-3 weeks to shoot it, but I can basically do what you're wanting me to do." So, over half of the movie is just scenes from the first movie, if you watch the second one.
And they just made a completely new movie out of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of flashbacks to things that the character shouldn't be able to flash back to. And there's like 1 or 2 crossover characters. They have different people playing them and they look way off, but yeah. No, the second one, though, it's great. I've never watched the first one. The first one's a remake coming out soon, by the way, like in December.
Yeah.
I've got the feeling it's going to be a mixture of Part 1 and 2, though, because 2 has like a couple like meme-worthy clips in it, and I've got the feeling they're not going to pass up the chance to remake those.
See, I'll probably just sit down and watch Violent Night.
I still want to watch it.
You should. It's great.
But yeah, so
Has David Harbour in it.
Yeah. But yeah, like circling back to like horror TV shows. The main ones I come up with beyond that, like the super obvious ones, like The Walking Dead.
At some point, it stops being horror.
Okay, sure, but it starts off there.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know beyond that. Well, I mean, there's an older show I watched, Kolchak, The Night Stalker.
Ooh, there you go.
Although for some reason, like half the episodes weren't on streaming. You literally jumped from like episode 1 to 9. But anyway, and I still can't find the movie that precedes the show. And even though it is horror, a lot of it's just Darren McGavin telling people what's what, which is great.
It is.
Like, he was good as the dad in Christmas Story. Never did watch the sequel. And yes, there is a sequel. It's like a summer story or something. I don't know. It takes place during the summer. I don't know. Him, Ralphie. It's a fishing scene. It's the only thing I've seen. Then there's actually like an actual sequel to the Christmas Story. That's like another Christmas Story or something. Haven't watched it either.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way it could be as good.
I don't know.
So anyway, Chad, here at the finale here, any horror movies or shows you would recommend to these fine people?
Well, I don't really watch a lot of horror shows.
Sure, but of what you've watched, what do you consider quality that you would recommend? Assuming the recipient of your endorsement is a horror fan, but has somehow not watched whatever movie you're going to recommend. I know there's a whole lot of ifs and whatnots in there.
Yes. I would definitely give like the first 2 Hellraiser movies a watch.
Okay.
I would give at the very least the first 2 Halloween movies a watch.
Okay.
Then you can watch any others that you want, because apparently there's like 50 different timelines for it.
It's a choose your own adventure series. It's
pretty much. Like, and one of those timelines completely ignores 2.
Yeah, that's the more recent one. It kind of acknowledges some things from 2, but because it talks about Laurie not being his sister. So it acknowledges that like the specter of that has been raised, which doesn't happen until 2. But I'm assuming the events of 2 don't play out because Michael Myers did not appear to be a crispy critter whenever he was visited in prison.
If you can stand a little bit more B-movie quality, Screamers.
Yeah, I'd go for Screamers being considered a horror movie.
Like, yes, it's futuristic, but
So is Event Horizon. Event Horizon
oh,
very
definitely watch Event Horizon.
Event Horizon is very clearly a horror movie.
Oh yes,
Cosmic hell-based horror.
and it's missing like 20, 30 minutes of footage.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Which we will never see.
Probably not.
Because I think most of the copies of it have just disappeared.
Yeah.
And they thought they found some of it hidden in a salt mine.
Well, that's like, have you ever seen...
And the film was corroded.
Have you ever seen The Wicker Man?
Which one?
The original, not the
yes.
page, but the first one.
Yes, I've seen the original.
Okay, so I saw this interview with Christopher Lee where he was like, yeah, so I was like, I know we filmed like another hour and a half's worth of movie, and it exists somewhere. He's like, supposedly it was buried under, like, the M5 or something in England. And he's just like, no one does that. Like, you don't bury films under highways. He's like, that's preposterous. He's like, someone has this, and somewhere down the road, they're going to release it for, for some money. He's like, then we'll all be able to see the rest of the movie. And I was like, yeah, that is pretty preposterous. Who the hell buries a movie underneath a highway?
Ask Jimmy Hoffa.
I think he's in Yankee Stadium or something, if I remember right. I don't remember his Yankee Stadium. That's what people speculate is there's one of the stadiums in the, buried in the concrete somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, it's probably in a cornfield or something, but...
But, Event Horizon, I would recommend Screamers.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy that movie. I have not seen the sequel. I own a copy of the sequel, but I have not seen it.
It's okay. I only watched it the one time.
Alien, I would definitely say you need to watch.
Yeah.
Not so much Alien 3. Not so much Alien Resurrection. Even though I like Alien Resurrection.
What about Prometheus? Do you even call it horror?
Not really.
But Alien Covenant. Or Alien Romulus.
You can skip that and watch the other movies. You get about as much use out of them.
Didn't like Romulus?
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think Resurrection did the whole half-breed thing better.
Yeah, but we had more to work with at that point. We had the Black Goo. Reverse engineered by fake ash.
But, I'm trying to think what others I'd recommend.
Which I guess even ash was fake ash, but you know what I mean.
Would you consider 30 Days a Night a horror movie?
Yeah.
I would say that one. That one's pretty good. Stop after the first one.
I think there's only two.
Stop after the first one. The first Resident Evil, maybe? Although that's getting into the action.
Yeah, none of those.
Horror crossover.
None of those are horror movies. The games are, but the movies are not.
That's about it off the top of my head.
Yeah. Alright. Well, good enough.
I mean, if you want comics that follow them, I'd recommend the Hellraiser comics. It dives a lot more into the lore of
I was going to say...
Leviathan and such.
I was say Clive Barker, like, it's based on a story. Was it The Hellbound Heart?
Yeah. But, the comics for Hellraiser go into, like, there's not just Leviathan.
Yeah.
Leviathan's pleasure. There's apparently one entity for, like, most of for the sins, because there's one for anger that you see for sure.
Yeah.
FYI, the Pinhead we know from the movies ends up switching sides, and Anger's minions look a lot like bugs.
Keep that in mind.
And Christy becomes Pinhead to save her colleagues from the other movies and all.
What about some other Clive Barker material like Nightbreed?
Nightbreed's good. I don't see it being a horror movie. It's a monster feature.
Yeah.
I don't see it as a horror movie because the creatures aren't trying to scare or kill anyone. They're trying to live. It's the guy with the freaking mask that's trying to kill him.
David Cronenberg's character.
Yes.
He's also Jason X. Very beginning of the movie, he's the government guy. He's like, no, we're not going to kill him. We're going to use him as a weapon. Then Jason kills him.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, that's David Cronenberg. He's made some messed up movies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Chad, I think we got to cut it off here because I got to get going. I've got to try to catch a late night showing of Scream, in fact. So
I am probably going to see you at the door and consider bed.
well, to each their own.
I got to get up early in the morning for work.
Yeah.
You do not.
I do not.
The perks of having Sunday, Monday off for my job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than what I did have.
Yeah. Well, I have Saturday off, so. And this being Halloween, like. All right. Well, Chad.
Wait, why are they playing Scream?
They probably couldn't get Halloween, or they thought it was a more modern movie or something. I don't know. All I know is I got to get back to town. So.
You're in town.
I have to go back to the other town.
And then come back over here?
Yes. I didn't realize how late it's getting. I got to get going.
Okay.
All right. So, not that I really think we had a whole lot of really intellectual things to contribute
No,
at
it
this
was-
point. We were pretty firmly in the ramble zone here.
Yes,
So,
it was to the point where it was, Chad, what do you suggest for horror movies? To the guy who then lists off most of the franchises of horror movies that I've seen.
All right. Well,
And then the one I watched before I even really started watching horror movies, which was Event Horizon People.
all right. Well, anyway, let us know down in the comments what you think. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sharing, commenting, help us grow the channel. It is appreciated. Thank you to everyone who got us over 600 subscribers here.
Yes,
recently.
thank you.
And, yeah, that's most of what I've got. So,
And yes, as you folks can see, I'm still alive.
so this being Halloween, don't forget, everyone's entitled to one good scare.
It's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.